Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is the first video that I've done for Set 4 of Teamfight Tactics. I went ahead and was pretty seriously burned out on Teamfight Tactics in Season 3, which I did not like at all. And I'll probably have more to say that in future videos, but it just felt like Season 3 went off in some very gimmicky directions, and I was not enjoying the gameplay. So it's been 6 months. I was watching some streamers. Looked like Set 4 was a lot more of what was interesting to me. And so I'm back, and I'm going to be casting for you here the very first game I did in Season 4, in part because this game went very well. I did some other games that didn't go quite as well, but this one went pretty well, as you'll see. So I will go ahead and walk you through this video. Now, if you're like me and you haven't been watching Season 4 of Teamfight Tactics, the game is, of course, similar overall. You still have basically the same items. You have a new set of champions with new traits, new abilities, and you have the new mechanic, which is the Chosen champion. So I'll have more to say about that as the game goes on, but I'm happy to walk through. For those who might not be following Season 4, if you are, then this will be old hat. But if you haven't been following Season 4, like me, then this will be a chance to walk you through. I'm going to try to use this video as an introduction and explain a little bit about some of the new features in this season. I know the season's been out for some time, but it is new to me, at least. So as I said, the big new feature in Season 4 are the Chosen Champions. The Chosens are more powerful versions of each champion. They will pop up in the store, and in fact, there's one right there. Note that Nami is glowing, and she is a champion version of the normal Nami. What the champions are is when you buy them, they come as a 2-star version of the champ right away. You can see that I only bought one Nami, but I have a 2-star version of her right away. They have increased stats. They can have increased stats in a couple different categories. It is champion specific. I do not know off the top of my head what each individual champion gets for their chosen version. Some of them have more health. I believe some of them cast more quickly. Some of them, I believe, have more damage, but don't quote me on that. As I said, I have to go back and look at the list. The way that the Chosen also work is that they count for double of one of their 2 traits. Now, Nami is Enlightened and Mage for her 2 traits. You can see I already have the Enlightened trait, even though I only have one Enlightened champion. And that's because Nami has gone ahead and rolled Enlightened as the trait that is doubled for her. I think that this is a really neat idea as far as mechanics go. You will never know what champion you're going to get going into a game. And you will never know, even if you get the same champion as a Chosen, it's not guaranteed which of their 2 traits is going to be the one that gets doubled. So it reminds me a little bit of how Lux had the different elements in Season 2, which I thought was one of the neatest parts of Season 2, was the fact that you could roll different Luxes and get different elements. So the idea is you have to play around kind of what you end up getting. You don't, like I said, you might want to go into different team compositions depending on which Chosen you roll. There's also the fact that you can only get one Chosen at a time. So I cannot get another Chosen as long as I have Nami here as my Chosen in this game. So there's a lot of depth here for a system that's pretty simple on its face value, but there's a lot of decision making. Do you sell your Chosen? Like, Nami is a 1-cost champion. Do I try to sell her to get a 2-cost or 3-cost or 4-cost Chosen? Which is something obviously you'd like to have, but you're giving up the advantage of having a Chosen when you sell one, because you can't get another one until the first one's gone. So as far as what else is going on here, I have just been building out an early game composition based on what else I've found here. I have the Enlightened from Nami, the Chosen. What Enlightened does is champions that are Enlightened cast faster. They generate more mana, basically, so they cast their spells faster. Enlightened 2 is 40% faster mana generation, at least in this patch version. If you're watching this later, it might be something different. But 40% faster. It only applies to Enlightened champions, so it's not a global benefit or like that. Brawler is a trait that's returned. I think it's been in several different seasons. It is Brawler champions get additional bonus health. And I believe Brawler 2 is 200 bonus health. And then that just keeps stacking as you add more Brawlers. So Brawlers typically frontline champions and are pretty straightforward. They are going to try to absorb incoming damage, and they have more health to try to soak that up. So I'm not playing anything too crazy right now, just relying on my champion, my Chosen to have that faster mana generation, and relying on brawlers for a front line. I went ahead and used 2 of my items to put a Sunfire Cape on Silas up there. That is the Chain Vest plus Giant's Belt. Provides health, armor, and then it does, like a Sunfire Cape in normal League of Legends, does damage over time to nearby champions. It also puts a healing buff on them, which did surprise me. I actually didn't know that it had the healing debuff aspect, but that's not the worst thing to have. Right now I'm stacking some champions on my bench. I've gone ahead and held on to Twisted Fate because he is another mage, and if I can get 3 mages, I can put the mage trait in effect. That would be Nami plus TF plus another champion. Note that if Nami had rolled the mage trait for her, the one that gets doubled as a chosen, instead of enlightened, I would be able to just put TF in, and that would make 3 mages, 2 from Nami and 1 from TF. Otherwise, I tossed in Aurelia because she also gets the enlightened benefit. She's also a 3-cost unit. She was an early 3-cost unit roll, and that means that she's a little bit stronger than a lot of these other units. She tosses out that kind of hail of blades. By the way, the person I'm up against got a really nice Lux ultimate that managed to hit multiple people on my team. But Nami's been providing a whole lot of crowd control here. That's what she does. She tosses out these bubbles, provides crowd control. And so that is going to be enough to win these. It's important that I win these early rounds because I've been leveling very aggressively. I went ahead and leveled to 4 pretty much at the first opportunity. I leveled to 4 before the first player combat round, so before 2-1. That's pretty commonplace in Teamfight Tactics from what I've seen in Season 4, going with the early aggressive leveling to get another unit in. I thought it was worthwhile so that I could play 2 brawlers and also have some additional champs in terms of backline. So here I'm looking at what items I might want to pick up. There's nothing that's really jumping off the page at me, so I will go ahead and take the Brawler's Club. That was the a 2-cost unit, and that can build into a number of different items down the road. I could make Hand of Justice with this tier, although that's not what I'm looking to do, but I could look to potentially make like the Jeweled Gauntlet for spell crit if I can get Needlessly Large Rod in order to combine with that. And that might be a possibility if I'm going to go down the mage's route. I have been trying to look a little bit at the other team comps, but I don't spend a lot of time doing that right now because I'm still trying to figure out kind of what I'm doing in Season 4. As I said, this was the very first game I played, so I had to spend more time focusing on my own team here. I'm also carrying a lot of champions on my bench, and I'm thinking about selling them if I can make it to the next income tier. So like right now I'm at 12. I have, let's see, I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I actually have 9 golden champions on my bench. So if I sold everything, I could get up to 20. I also did miss a champion here. I should have bought the Lulu so that would give me the ability to play 3 mages at level 5. I could take out, for example, Aurelia and then play 3 mages, which would be really nice because then Nami would cast twice. In the current build of Teamfight Tactics, 3 mages causes your mages to cast twice. It's not a percentage chance, they always cast twice. Oh, there we go. I actually did buy that. I could also buy Veigar, but Veigar is not really considered to be in the meta right now. So here, normally I would not level here. This is kind of an odd level to be leveling because you can see I'm actually at 2 more. I'm at like 2 out of 20 XP. Usually you don't want to level on sort of those points in time where you get like 2 more XP than you need. You usually want to be at one of the natural leveling points. But I was on a 4-match winning streak, and I wanted to make sure I won this round because if I win here, I'll get to 5 wins in a row, and then that will carry my winning streak through the minion rounds, and I'll get max income from both this round and the minion round. So there was an incentive to keep the winning streak alive. So I go ahead and toss the tier on Nami as well because I just wanted her to cast a little bit faster. And the CC is really, really helpful there because we got the knockup. This person was playing looked like an assassin or cultist plus assassin or cultist plus shade, something like that. And we were able to get the bubble on the Evelyn when she jumped in the backline. And it looked like the Akali also got taken out too. So there I find 2-star TF, and then I was like, all right, this is feeling pretty solid. I will play the 2-star TF with Mage, and then he'll cast twice, and Lulu with Mage, so she'll cast twice, and Nami, who doesn't really do a lot of damage, but Nami provides a lot of crowd control. I had thought about playing the Jax because that could potentially, I think, get the Duelist in play, if I remember correctly. But I believe that I end up selling a lot of these champs here because I want to try to get up to the next gold tier. If I remember, this is all pre-recorded footage. By the way, there is a chance to get the. I could make the Jeweled Gauntlet there. I end up making Ludens because it's a really good item on. It's a really good item on Nami. So I went ahead and made that. Probably should have waited to see what else dropped. And there I clear my bench so I can get up to 30 gold and hit the next income tier. I'm holding on to Vi because I'm playing Vi, and I'm holding on to Aurelia because she's in another Enlightened champ. And going up to 4 Enlightened would be pretty nice here. So I should talk just briefly more about the mages. So as I mentioned, mages at mage 3 have 100%, they will always double cast, but they do less damage on that. They only have 80% spell power. That sounds really good, but 3 mages is not really a meta composition in the current makeup of this game, and 6 mages is like super variant material. 6 mages you would again always double cast, and you'd actually have increased spell power instead of decreased spell power. But as I said, it's not really in the metagame right now. There's no compositions that make use of 6 mages, which is a bit of a shame, but just doesn't seem to be that strong. And I trust the opinions of people who play the game much more than me. So Nami actually ended up doing the most damage there as she double cast those bubbles. By the way, I absolutely should grab this Lulu, but I can't remember if I remembered to pick her up or not because I'm playing Lulu here. I even have 42 gold and she costs 2, but it looks like I just didn't spot that, which is really sad. Oh well. So here I get another Enlightened champ, and now I have the opportunity to go to 6. I can play the Morgana, and I can also play the Aurelia if I want. Now that does mean dropping 2 mages, but I can look to play this, or it does mean dropping 3 mages, or dropping 2 Brawlers. So I have to think about what I want to do here, but I think I definitely want to get the 4 Enlightened in. Morgana is a 4-cost unit, and getting her this early on is a very nice pull. I got her at level 5, and I believe the odds are quite low to get her there. So you can see Enlightened champions generate more mana. Morgana is also considered to be one of the stronger champions in this patch. She got a bit of a buff in this patch. What Morgana does is put that puddle down on the ground, and it deals magic damage over time. So it doesn't deal magic damage right up front, but it does deal damage over time. And because it hits a pretty decent portion of the board, as long as you can, hold the enemy team in place, it'll end up doing quite a bit of damage. So meanwhile here, we're just continuing to CC the enemies. I'm unfortunately at 39 gold, which is not quite enough. And then I get something really interesting. I find Ahri. I'm like, ooh, Ahri. I was like, do I want to play this Ahri? I was really curious when I saw this. So Ahri is one of the more powerful units in the current makeup of the game. Now I don't need that Lulu because I'll play the Ahri over the Lulu. Ahri has an ultimate that tosses out a huge glowing sphere that hits a large portion of the board. And it will end up, it will do a huge amount of damage, which she is very slow to cast. So right there, you see me make Infinity Edge on her. This is me getting a little bit ahead of myself. Infinity Edge is a good item on Ahri, but you need to have a Jeweled Gauntlet first. The basic idea is you get a Jeweled Gauntlet. The Jeweled Gauntlet crits, gives your spells the ability to crit, and then you further enhance that. By the way, there's the Ahri ult. Didn't end up doing that much. Then you enhance the crits that are coming out of Jeweled Gauntlet by getting Infinity Edge, and those 2 items combined together. So best in slot for Ahri is considered to be Jeweled Gauntlet plus Infinity Edge plus a Guardian Angel, so that enemies can't just kill her. Again, Ahri casts very slowly, so you kind of need her to stay alive long enough to cast. And the idea is if you can get a 2-star Ahri, she just kind of one-shots the entire board. So I'm figuring on playing the Akali, playing the Ahri, not the Akali. She's also a champ in this. I'm planning on playing that. And now it would be nice for me to try to build a team composition around that in some fashion. So here I have a chance to grab another item. I don't really have anything on my bench right now, but I figured I'll just go ahead and grab the Warwick. It's another Brawler unit. It's better than what I have here. And I can go ahead and replace either the Silas or the Vi with Warwick, who is another Brawler, but a 4-cost Brawler. Give me a little bit more frontline here. It's a little bit of an odd fit. You could argue I should have tried to pick up one of the tiers instead. I don't know if that would be better or not, but I ended up going for the Warwick instead. And I believe that I sell the Silas and put the Sunfire Cape on Warwick here. Yeah, I think that's what I ended up doing. So there we go. So Warwick is Brawler plus Hunter plus, what's his third trait? Brawler, Hunter, and Divine as well. So at the moment, I'm continuing to win streak. I've actually won the first 8 matches, which is, great thus far. So here you're going to see the weakness of Ahri. She gets jumped on by the enemy team's backline, but fortunately, Nami is there to toss a bubble and save the day, and now Ahri will get her cast off. There's that huge glowing sphere. Didn't really do that much damage, but she does double cast because we have 3 mages, and ends up how much. She actually did not do the most damage. Nami is still doing the most damage on my team, which is kind of funny. She's mostly in here for crowd control, but the Ludens synergizes super well with her bubble. All right, so here I have another chance to get another Enlightened unit. And in this patch version right now, 4 Enlightened with Morgana and Talon is seen as being one of the strongest comps. So I was like, maybe I should just try playing that. I could drop Brawler here because it's not really that helpful. Or I could just level to 7, put in Talon, and that will get me the 4 Enlightened. Talon is Enlightened plus Assassin. And you do need good itemization on him in order to get him to kind of pop off. But Infinity Edge plus like Guardian Angel plus like another item with crit chance on it are kind of seen as being key items on him. The idea is you just kind of try to like use Morgana to weaken the whole enemy team, and then Talon just kind of jumps around finishing everybody off. So something along these lines should be decent. One of the things that I have to deal with is I have to figure out whether I'm going to play a Talon plus Morgana comp or if I'm going to play an Ahri comp. They're not quite the same composition. And one of the things that you'll see ends up happening in this game is I kind of get stuck between those two comps a little bit and struggle to figure out which one I want to play. I wasn't really sure which one which one of those it was going to be. As I said, this was my very first game of Teamfight Tactics in Season 4. And although there's some weird stuff in the lobby, like one of the players, it looks like Hangry Eggplant just quit the lobby or something like that. There are some people who are pretty high skilled. There's actually a master player and 2 diamond players in this game. Now, they might not be tryharding or whatever because this is normal and not ranked or whatever you want to say. But, they are players who presumably know what they're doing. It's not like a bunch of bronze scrubs or something. I don't know. So here I picked up some champs and I should have sold them. I actually didn't even realize right away that I had picked up these extra champs. I was like, I'm not going to play the Katarina. I'm not going to play the Evelyn. So I need to go ahead and try to make some pairings. So I do get a 2-star Thresh there. I am trying to remember why I was picking up Threshes. I can't remember exactly why I was doing that. And I think here I end up deciding to drop the mages. I'll put in Lux. Lux gives me Dazzler. Dazzler is a debuff that reduces the attack damage of enemies on the other team who are hit by the Dazzler champions, their spell effect. So like whenever Morgana puts her puddle down, anyone who gets hit by that is going to have their attack damage debuffed by Dazzler. Also, anyone who gets hit by Lux's ultimate. And by the way, that Lux ult hit a ton of the enemy team. Lux actually did the most damage, even though she's a 1-star unit, because she just lined up and hit like half the enemy team right there. So here I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I probably should just keep running with this comp for the time being because it's really not that bad of a comp. I probably should just stick with this and run through it all the way to the end game and just focus on building Talon and building Morgana. But for whatever reason, I was looking at this and I decided that I would try to mix things up. I go ahead and sell the Ahri. I was like, well, Ahri doesn't really fit this comp. Let's go. I'm going to go into Talon and Morgana. Let's put the Infinity Edge on the Talon, and then that frees up a spot for me to put in another unit here. And then I ultimately sell the Nami as well. And I think that was a mistake in retrospect. I think I made my comp a lot weaker. And in particular, because it dropped me down from 4 Enlightened to 3 Enlightened. Now, I had Janna there, so I could go back to 4 Enlightened. Janna's Shields champs. But I think that this made my comp considerably weaker in the short run. Now, there is the chance to get another Chosen. So that's what I'm kind of rolling for here, is like, can I find another Chosen? But ultimately, I think that sticking with that Nami probably was the way to go, because getting the double Enlighten was pretty good in and of itself. And you can see I did win 11 rounds in a row with that. I probably could have just kept win streaking, but now I'm going to lose, and now I need to find something else. And I'm going to have to figure out something else that I want to play here. Of course, then I immediately get a Chosen Ahri, and I was like, Chosen Ahri? Okay, well, I have to play this. It was like, Ahri is like considered the strongest unit in the current meta or something like this. Unfortunately, she's rolled the Chosen attribute on Spirit and not on Mage, which would be more useful. But it's like, it's a Chosen Ahri. I have to play this, right? I have to find a way to play this unit. And there's even another Ahri right there. Now, unfortunately, I end up selling that unit, and I put the Ludens on Morgana. I don't know if that was the right choice or not. I think this may have been better on Ahri just for the tier, so she would cast faster. But once again, I'm kind of stuck between, am I building a comp based on Talon and Morgana, or am I building a comp based on the Ahri? And I can't quite seem to make up my mind. That round was also sad because there were like 5 champions that were super low on the enemy team. and I wasn't able to turn that into a finished composition. So I think in retrospect, if I were to play this game again, I would not sell that Chosen because I had like a very clear team comp based on going Enlightened, and the Nami was doing a lot of damage, and she was also providing a lot of crowd control, which was really useful. So now I'm once again trying to figure this out. And like I said, this is my first game, so I wouldn't expect myself to have all the answers. Certainly, it was nice to get the Ari Chosen was pretty cool. So now I need to figure out what else I'm going to pick up. What I really want is to get a Jeweled Gauntlet onto Ari. So you can see I have the Brawler's Glove. So if I can get the Needlessly Large Rod, I can get that Jeweled Gauntlet, which is like the best in slot item for Ari. So I could get that, but no! Last second swing. For whatever reason, I go ahead and take the spatula. This is also a really questionable decision if you're going to be playing the Ari right here. So I could have had Jeweled Gauntlet plus Infinity Edge I could have had Jeweled Gauntlet plus Infinity Edge on Ari, a chosen Ari, no less. Could have sold the Talon and then played that. But instead, no, I go for the Spatula instead. So, yeah, I don't know quite why I did that in retrospect. I think it was because I didn't really know what the Spatula did on all these units. So I'll have to try to figure out some way to make something out of that. But I'm looking at this in retrospect. I'm like, oh my god, you could have had that Spatula. Or no, excuse me, you could have had a Jeweled Gauntlet on Ari and put the Infinity Edge, and then I even have a Chain Vest. So if I would just get the BF Sword later on, I'd even have a Guardian Angel as well. I'm like almost set here to have the perfect Ari items on a on a chosen version of Ari, which has higher stats than a normal Ari. Plus, I'm already at 5 Aris, so I've got a non-trivial chance to get a 3-star Ari here. So whatever, for early game, early first round jitters here, trying to figure out this system and learn what all this stuff does. But I was kind of handed a really insane Ari setup here, and just either didn't see it or ended up doing different stuff. Now I am stacking Sejuani's on my bench. Sejuani is going to be a replacement down the road for one of these champions. Probably would replace the Vi down the road, even though it doesn't make a lot of traits. Brawler is not super useful at this stage of the game. And Sejuani has an ult that provides really good crowd control, so that would be pretty useful. And here I'm looking at different items to make. I could make Shroud of Stillness, which wouldn't be terrible. It's actually a pretty decent item. I also did make Zephyr, one of our favorite items from back in the day. It's not as powerful as it used to be in some of the earlier seasons, but the ability to take one key unit out of the fight, always super nice. The Morgana Dazzler also doing a lot of work there on that enemy team. And so Talon ends up doing the most damage, even though he's only a little 1-star unit there. So if I can get a 2-star version of the Talon and a 2-star version of Morgana, I'm actually in pretty good shape. But then I also have this random chosen Ari. So like I said, still struggling here to figure out, am I going to play through the Talon and through the Morgana, or am I going to play through the Ari? Ari comps, generally speaking, Ari will do all your damage if she's been itemized with like best in slot items. So Ari comps generally run Vanguard and Mystic just to be like super defensive. The idea is to have a front line that will just hold up for a really, really long time while Ari generates the mana she needs to then cast and then just like one-shot everybody. And that's generally the plan behind the Ari compositions. And I don't really have that here. So like I said, I think that this composition really would lean... And look, and there's the BF sword. So I could have perfect Ari items here. Literally perfect Ari items. I would have had everything that I could possibly want. But I end up not going for that. I do hit some 2-stars there, which is nice. So, again, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do here. It's like, oh, am I going to play this Talon? Am I looking to go with more Talon here? Or am I going to look to play through the Ari? So I end up deciding to play through the Ari, which I think at this point in the game is a mistake. Really, really, really wish I picked up that needlessly large rod. And then I could have had the Jeweled Gauntlet and then tossed the Infinity Edge on, and then boom, we're good to go with the chosen Ari while pushing towards 3-star Ari. But it is not to be, and we're going to have this half and half composition here. The composition I'm up against right now is actually another Enlightened composition based on combining the Morgana and the Talon over there. So fortunately for me, the Talon items are not very good on that composition. So we're able to beat Fennel, but he's also running a similar setup there. As far as other traits that I have here, I should just mention what some of these do. I talked about how Dazzler is an attack damage debuff, and there we get the 2-star Talon, which is nice. Really nice. The Spirit I mentioned generates additional attack speed for nearby champions. Is it nearby champions? I've got the description of what all the traits do here. I'm just gonna look at that off screen here. Spirit. The first time a Spirit casts their spell, all allies gain attack speed based on the spell's mana cost. Well, that's a terrible trait for Ari to have because she casts so slowly. So all allies gain attack speed based on 35% of the mana cost. So that sounds good, but the problem is Ari casts so slowly that Spirit is really not especially good on her. I mean, it's better than nothing, don't get me wrong, but like, look how long it takes her to cast. So she doesn't give the rest of the team attack speed until after she casts, and that's like, the fight's like over by the time she casts, so that's really not that useful. I mean, look, her ult does do a lot of damage, but oh man, if I had the Jeweled Gauntlet and I had the Infinity Edge on her, oh man, be doing so much damage. Mystic is the same as it was in earlier versions of Teamfight Tactics. The Mystic trait provides global magic resistance. I believe Mystic 2 is 40 MR. And then Divine I have right now on the Lux and the Warwick, and I believe on the Aurelia is the other one. Divine's kind of an interesting trait. It's pretty unique in terms of what it does. So I'll just read the description. Upon attacking 6 times or dropping below 50% health, Divine Champions remove all crowd control and ascend, taking reduced damage and dealing bonus true damage for the duration. In the current patch, it's 40% reduced damage and 40% bonus true damage. At Divine 2, that only lasts for 4 seconds, but at higher ranks of Divine, it lasts for longer. So basically, when they get low, the Divine Champions remove all crowd control and start taking reduced damage and dealing true damage. It was really overpowered in the patch right before this one. Now, unfortunately, Ari casts in the corner and hits nothing, and then just dies like a moron to Zed there. So that didn't go very well, and that composition with the 3-star Zed is going to be problematic. At least Zed is only a 2-cost champion in this. He is not like the Zed in Season 2, who was a 5-cost champion. But still, not great. Not great, to say the least. This is a carousel, unfortunately, that doesn't have a ton of stuff that I want. I've banked enough health that I'm still hanging in there, but I clearly need to fix my comp because I have not been winning that many of the recent rounds. I'd say I've been winning like 1 in 3 of the recent rounds, and that's not really what I want. Here, I really should pick up the Hand of Justice. That is a much better item on Talon than Giant Slayer, but I pick up the Giant Slayer instead. Again, still learning here, still trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing. But I really should have picked up the Hand of Justice. It's just a better item for Talon. It causes him to cast sooner. It gives him either life on hit or more damage, both of which would be nice. So I'll put this on Talon, but Giant Slayer is really not an ideal item on him. It's not terrible, but it's not great. And here I see that I can I can use the spatula plus the Brawler's Glove, and that will turn someone into an assassin. And I was like, oh, well, let's go ahead and put this on Talon. That'll make him an assassin. And then it pops off, and I was like, wait a minute. He's already an assassin. And I was like, I thought he was an assassin, but I had been thrown off because that little indicator on the left-hand side was not reading assassin 1 out of 2. And I think that's because it just ran out of space. It can only display so many traits. So I had been holding off on using this spatula because I thought that I didn't have any assassins in, but I did have an assassin. I had Talon. So I need to go ahead and use this so I can actually power up Talon by pairing him with another assassin. In order to make use of the assassin trait, you need to have 2 assassins in there. And if I go ahead and use this, I can actually do that. So this is me, again, being thrown off a little bit by the interface. I didn't realize that I was missing an assassin. And in this comp, I'm like, all right, I'll go ahead and put that on Warwick. There's not really anyone else who I want jumping in the back lines. Assassin, the trait causes the champions to jump into the back line at the start of combat. They get increased critical strike chance and critical strike damage when they crit. So that's why IE Infinity Edge is such a key item on Talon. So right now I was looking through who I was most likely to hit in terms of the enemy comps, and I wanted to position Warwick with his Zephyr to be able to hit someone key on the other team. I thought I was going to hit Fennel. I was right. I did hit Fennel, and I Zephyred out his Morgana, who is one of his most important units. He really needs the Morg because it's really important that he cast and get that Dazzler debuff on my team. But we take Morgana out of the fight for the first 6 seconds. That was deliberate. That was not an accident. And we just barely win a fight that I'm pretty sure we don't win if I don't manage to Zephyr out his Morgana. So I was pretty happy with that. Micro for the win there. Now, the one other trait I haven't mentioned thus far is Adept. I've gone ahead and played Shen here because Shen pulls in both Ninja and Mystic and Adept. Shen is very useful in many late game team comps. Adept causes everyone on the enemy team to have their attack speed lowered at the beginning of the fight. And that's quite useful because if you can slow everybody's attack speed, it takes them longer to generate mana and to stack up their mana so they can cast. Also, I then suck out in the most ridiculous way imaginable, and look what item I get here. I get the freaking Jeweled Gauntlet, which is again best in slot item on Ahri. So yeah, I actually get the Jeweled Gauntlet, the one I failed to make earlier. I get it right here on Ahri. Now at this point, I would really, really love to put the Infinity Edge on her, but I don't want to sell a 2-star Talon to put the Infinity Edge on her. So I'm just gonna leave it as is for right now. I also go ahead and level to 9, and I'm looking for what other champions I can put it, and then I see there's a Yone here, and I can actually play Yone to get up to another level of Adept. Plus, he's just a very good unit in general, so I'm going to go ahead and play him there, and unfortunately, I did not have time to cycle through and see where would be ideal to position the Warwick, but I actually do hit the Zed, except, oh wait, he's got a Quicksilver Sash. He can't be disabled. So that was going to be really, really good, but I get a little bit unlucky and hit the Zed with the Quicksilver. I had remembered that the Zed had been positioned there, and so that's why I positioned the Zephyr in that spot, because I figured, well, this will be useful. Now I also get Elise in here, and he will go ahead and make both Brawler and do I still have two? No, he doesn't make Brawler. He does go ahead and make Divine 4, which will be extra health on Warwick, and also on my other, I can't know who my other Brawler is, but then right after that I roll and get a 2-star Sejuani, and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to play the 2-star Sejuani, even though it doesn't make any trait. A 2-star Sejuani is fantastic. She is Fortune Vanguard, neither of which trait I'm playing, but Sejuani's ultimate crowd controls a huge portion of the map, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play that. Now, unfortunately, I didn't Zephyr out a particularly good unit there. I should have been looking at the enemy team's composition a little bit better, but Ahri gets off a fantastic ult, and that Jeweled Gauntlet makes such a huge difference in terms of getting crits. I mean, look, Ahri just did 7,000 damage right there, and it turns out that now we're down to just 2 players left. And so it's like, yeah, oh wow, all of a sudden 2-star Ahri, 2-star chosen Ahri does a ridiculous amount of damage when she gets the best in slot item for her. And here I'm looking to see if I can 2-star the Morgana, but that's about it. I pretty much have everything I need. And now we're down to just that assassin comp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reposition my front line in the back, because these assassins are going to jump into the back line, and then I want to try and Zephyr somebody out. So I see that there's a Kayn up there in the front, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll just grab that Kayn. He seems like a useful person to grab because I can't get the Zed, and I've got, so I go ahead and Zephyr that out. Again, I have repositioned so that some of my tankier champs are actually in the back line. It didn't work out as well as I would have liked, but Ahri gets off another nice ultimate. Sejuani gets off her ult that's going to stun a good portion of the map, and one more Jewel Gauntlet cast from Ahri will finish this off. And that's actually it. So yeah, I win my first game of Teamfight Tactics. Beginner's luck for the win there. Certainly got a lot of luck going in my fashion. So what actually ended up working well in this game? Well, I got a really useful Chosen right at the beginning of the match. The Nami Chosen really carried me through the early portion of the game. Nice Chosen to have, getting that Enlightened trait in, and then I just kind of built through the Enlightened trait. I was able to get some decent items on Talon, if not spectacular items on Talon, pair him together with the Morgana, and then pair them with the Lux as well. Lux was kind of quietly doing a lot in that match between crowd control, and then Morgana Lux applying Dazzler, because almost all of the other comps were AD heavy, so the Dazzler debuff to their attack damage really was nice. And then, of course, finding a Chosen Ahri. I mean, Chosen Ahri is great, and then I suck out and get insanely lucky by finding a Jeweled Gauntlet through dumb luck. Could have had perfect items for Ahri, instead ended up with still really good items, and the Ahri plus Talon was enough to carry me through. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Expect to see some more Teamfight Tactics, and maybe we'll play some of this on stream. So until then, have a great week. Take care. See you guys soon.